Is your hiring process running on chaos? Are you losing candidates left, right, and center? Someone refers someone and you don't even know where they are in the funnel. Here's the reality. Speed and structure is not a nice to have. It is a must have. It is the difference between candidates ghosting you and you appointing top talent.
This is Solving the People Puzzle, where we discuss all things talent acquisition and human resource management.
Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode here on Solving the People Puzzle. I'm your host, Franco de Vet, CEO here at Whamley. And in today's discussion, I'm going to be unpacking the 5 key themes, or let me call them puzzle pieces, of how HR tech is reshaping the way that organizations are hiring. Let's face it, most hiring is still broken. It's in spreadsheets. It's all over the show. Your data is all over the show. You don't know where your candidates are. But in today's conversation, I'm going to be unpacking 5 technology themes that can help you change that. Theme number 1, structure will not kill optimization and efficiency. Now let's just unpack that for a second. So often we look at this idea and this concept of structure and rigidity as an inhibitor of innovation, efficiency, and speeding up a process. But it's clear now from the evidence, from the reading, from interacting and engaging with clients, and just looking out there, that the more structure you have in the way that you attempt and apply yourself in the hiring process, the better it is for fairness, the better it is for accurate selection, and the more informed your panel is to make a hiring decision. We all know that unstructured interviews versus structured interviews is a theme that has been discussed many, many times. What does that mean? If you're a new listener, don't run a coffee chat, an unstructured, tell me about who you are, let's check out our chemistry too early in your hiring process. But this theme talks holistically to the entire hiring process to give it structure. So what does that mean? Where am I finding my candidates? Do I have a multi-layered approach? Are they all coming to the same place? Does that technology allow the hiring team to effectively screen on minimum criteria? Is the technology enabling the team to do that so that it's less manual? Are we clear about the criteria we are using while moving candidates through the funnel? And then lastly, are there scientific elements involved in the structured process that allow for fair discrimination? What could these be? Psychometric assessments, matching candidates against the requirements of the profile and generating a match score, skills tests. So this idea of testing technical competence and capability with an accurate assessment that scores the candidates all on the same assessment and then again displays the data points back in your system. Are you clear and have you considered a structured process and idea of screening on minimum requirements? And is this being applied carefully and thoughtfully across all the candidates, ensuring that, again, you're increasing your fairness in screening out candidates? And then lastly, when you do then run the interview, whether this be an online interview, a one-way video interview, or a face-to-face interview, are your questions based off the requirements of the role? Is there a scoring key? Is your panel all coached and trained on how to run a structured interview? And then very, very important, and I still struggle to see this in most instances and cases, is am I able to bring all these data points together in a scientific structured way to generate a score on a candidate and then rank order my candidates in a list where there is very little room for opinion, bias, subjectivity, or preference? Now that really is something to deep think about in terms of how structure is not necessarily stopping innovation and optimization, but actually enabling it. Theme number 2, automation will free up the human, not replace it. It will allow the human to be more human. There's a common myth that automation is going to kill the human touch. It's going to remove the human from the hiring process. People dealing with people, and that technology and automation is going to take that away. It's not the truth. We've all been confronted with this conversation. How is technology and AI going to influence my world of work? Is it going to change my job? Am I still going to be relevant? And I want to pose that question to you because this is what this theme is about, is what is your mindset around the technology that you either don't have yet or that is being deployed in your organization as we speak. Because the beauty of the automation is to remove the highly administrative, repetitive tasks that are part of the hiring process. I often speak to individuals in HR that tell me, you know what, Fran, my job is to screen CVs 8 hours a day. Or 30% of my job is scheduling interviews. Or a massive chunk of the administration of my job is to compile data points into a manual report. These are all examples of where automation can free up you, the human, so that you can be more human. And what does that mean? That means interacting with candidates, not scheduling, not the logistics, but sharing your brand of the organization, sharing the culture, preparing them for the hiring journey, what to expect, what is the time frame, what's the timeline, what can they expect when they get to the organization, how should they dress. That's the one side of it. The other side of it is freeing you up to spend more time with your line manager. You know, the BP and HR business partner is to be the business partner. And so if automation can help you free up your time to allow you to spend more time with your line manager, that's where you can add more value. That's where you can sit with the data points in a merit list or in a system, in a dynamic report, in a platform, and discuss the various data points with the line manager. Bring in the nuance of the culture and the requirements of the job, and then help the hiring manager make the decisions that they need to make to fill the vacancy. So, let's for once and all smash this idea of automation is going to replace the human. It's not. It's going to free up your time and allow you to do more impactful things in the world of talent acquisition. Theme number 3. Candidate experience is a deal breaker, and the data proves it. Let's be honest. We've all been in a hiring cycle where you find someone that you're really excited about. They impress you, whether it's the CV, the first interview, whatever it is that you saw of them and you're seriously impressed. You give the feedback back to HR that I really like this candidate. If you're a line manager, if you're HR, you maybe make a note or a comment about the candidate. And then you get back stuck into the admin and the process of working through the funnel, looking at the rest of the candidates. And guess what? The moment you're ready to circle back to your top identified talent, they're gone. Candidate ghosting is real. Candidates, and I've said this before, are now consumers. They have choice. We live in an attention economy. Everything is instant gratification. And so the hiring process needs to be obsessed with the candidate, your candidate's experience. Everybody wants to feel warm, engaged, and spoken to and informed about where they are in the hiring process. Now, let me preface this. I understand if you're dealing with a bulk project and you're literally sitting with hundreds of candidates that you can't phone everybody. But this is where automation and technology becomes your friend, because you can set up your system, if it allows for it, to continuously communicate and engage the candidates by just informing them where they are in the hiring process. I've often said this, candidates don't necessarily always want an answer, but they just want to be informed around where they are in the process. One of the worst one-liners I see still to this day often is, if you haven't heard back from us in 2 weeks, consider yourself unsuccessful. No, we're better than that. We need to move past that. And so this theme number 3 really puts a massive emphasis on candidate experience. So I want to encourage you to think about how and where in your hiring process are you able to reach touch points with your candidates. Some systems allow you to WhatsApp the candidates. Some systems allow you to set up automatic reminders and emails. Some organizations are sending out video clips of the hiring panel. Some HR team members are able to phone the candidates. All depends on the size, the nature, and the technology that you've got. But really can't emphasize this theme more. The candidate experience is an extension of your brand, your EVP, and ultimately your ability to retain and attract top talent. Who doesn't like sport? Now, HR, tech, hiring, sport, here's the theme. Theme number 4 says hiring is no longer an individual sport, but a team sport. Let me unpack that. In the past, hiring was seen as a function of human resources. If you were really sophisticated, you had a talent acquisition team that sits in the center of excellence. But nowadays, it takes a village, they say, to fill a vacancy. And so the theme here addresses the need for your technology stack, your hiring platform, to really think and focus on how are you able to collectively engage, collectively collaborate, and collectively have a conversation about your candidates. Is the platform allowing for chats, for comments, for notes, for team collaboration? Is the technology bringing all these comments together, giving you a summary of what all the team members said, storing evidence such as comments and notes in the various stages of the hiring process? Because once the team is able to work together on this vacancy, there are more touch points, more opinions, and more data points that go into finding the perfect candidate for your vacancy. So if you think sports again, we're no longer looking at hiring as an individual sport, but as a team sport. We're all involved and we all have the privilege of the responsibility to fill the vacancy. So if hiring is becoming more of a team sport, then hiring is becoming more cross-functional than ever. And your tech should reflect that. Data intelligence is the next layer that is now becoming the most competitive advantage. So many organizations are collecting thousands of data points in the hiring journey, but very few are actually leveraging the data. I have spoken about this concept before, this idea of digitization and digitalization. Let me not unpack that again. But this theme is all about leveraging the insights and the analytics that can be drawn from the big data that you are collecting in your hiring process. I speak to HR execs who tell me, Fran, I need to report on return on investment, time to hire, quality of my candidates, where in the process is my bottleneck, what are the best sources that I am hiring from, are there themes that I can derive from all of this information? Can I then feed all of that data back into my hiring process to create even more efficiency and optimization? And the answer here is you have the data, but is your technology allowing you to leverage it? I then want to go a step further and say some organizations and tech stacks out there are already doing this for you. It just needs the data points, which brings me back to something that I'm deeply passionate about and that we are focusing heavily on here at Whamly, and that is how do you gather all the data points of your candidates in one single system, allowing you therefore to build algorithms, use the AI available to give you this artificial layer to help you make informed decisions. So if your hiring tech is not allowing you to make sense of the thousands of data points, then maybe it's just a fancy spreadsheet. In this episode, I've discussed 5 themes of the HR tech hiring landscape, how it's evolving and what is required from a technology perspective. And I'm so proud to say that this is exactly what we are building. A single system, an all-in-one, end-to-end hiring platform that can help you attract, screen, interview, assess, check all your candidates, manage your funnel, make offers, build a pipeline, all in one here at Whamly. Our mission is simple. We want to help the world, you, hire better people faster. So if you would like to know more, simply head over to our website, whamly.io, and we would gladly show you more about our award-winning software. Thank you so much for listening to another episode here on Solving the People Puzzle, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode.
If you enjoyed today's episode, can you please go and like, subscribe, and even leave us a 5-star rating? If you have any questions around how to create the ultimate end-to-end hiring solution, head over to whamly.io so that we can help you hire better people faster. Catch you next time.